Conversations hummed like a living current. Trevor stood near the marble balcony, glass of dark wine in hand, surveying the crowd. His gaze landed on her, a striking woman with long curly hair, an aura of calm chaos around her. Alice. Alice noticed him too, his presence pulling her attention like gravity. She walked closer, curiosity mingled with "You always speak so confidently, even when the subject is uncertain." Trevor, turning to her, intrigued, "And you speak like a poet. Even in casual conversation. Poetry is the only way I can survive life. And politics. Politics is survival disguised as progress." There was a beat of silence, a shared recognition neither could explain. "I suppose you know a thing or two about disguise. And you, about truth." She felt her breath hitch. The air between them seemed charged, heavier than the music around them. "Why do I feel like meeting you was inevitable? Because some things aren't random. Some meetings are written in a language we don't yet understand." Their eyes held for a moment too long. Somewhere deep inside, a thread of fate began to weave itself between them. And in that moment both knew, nothing would ever be the same. The city outside glittered like a scattered constellation. Trevor's apartment overlooked the river, its lights dancing on the water's surface. Inside, the air was thick with unspoken words. Alice stood by the window, her silhouette framed by moonlight. Trevor approached quietly, closing the space between them. "You still wonder why you came? I wonder why I stayed." He smiled, a slow, dangerous smile. His fingers found hers, drawing her into a quiet embrace. "Because you can't undo this. Because there's something between us that won't let go." Alice's breath caught. She wanted to deny it, to step away, but her heart betrayed her with each beat. She could feel it, the pull. The summons. "It's wrong. Everything worth feeling is." He leaned in, his voice low, almost a whisper. "You are mine tonight." The room seemed to shrink, the air around them charged. Their lips met, slow at first, testing, then with an urgent, consuming hunger. The world outside ceased to exist. Her hands tangled in his dark hair. His grip tightened on her waist. Every touch was a promise and a warning. They fell into each other like inevitability, a surrender neither could resist. They moved toward the bedroom in silence, their breaths heavy, hearts pounding. Clothes fell away, leaving nothing but raw desire and the dangerous understanding that this night was the crossing point, the moment where desire became a chain. Alice knew, deep inside, this was no ordinary affair. This was a summons that could not be refused. And Trevor knew that once she gave in, there would be no turning back. Morning light spilled through heavy curtains, painting the room in pale gold. Alice lay awake, her hair tangled across the pillow, mind tangled in thoughts. Trevor slept beside her, chest rising and falling steadily, a rare look of peace on his face. She turned to watch him, feeling both warmth and a sharp ache. He was the kind of man who left marks, not just on skin, but on the soul. Trevor stirred, opening his eyes slowly, meeting hers with a quiet intensity. Morning already. And yet it feels like nothing has changed, and everything has. Trevor sat up, running a hand through his dark hair. His voice was low, deliberate. "I can't give you what you want." "And what is it I want?" "To be your secret. To be the reason you stay in a marriage you despise." His jaw tightened. "It's not that simple. Nothing with us is simple." A silence stretched between them, not the comfortable kind, but heavy, loaded. Trevor's eyes darkened, as if carrying years of regret. "I made choices I can't undo. Staying, it's not because I love her. It's because of what it means, what it protects. But with you, it's different." Alice turned away, staring at the window. "Different doesn't make it right." Trevor leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper, almost a confession. "I don't care if it's right. I want you. And you want me too. That's why this is inevitable." Her chest tightened. She wanted to deny him, to walk away, but every part of her knew she wouldn't. They were bound by lust, by fate, by a dangerous, karmic pull neither could escape. And neither of them would try. Weeks passed. Their meetings became a ritual, stolen moments in shadowed corridors, hurried touches behind closed doors, whispered confessions over champagne in lonely hotel rooms. Trevor was always present in her mind, even when absent. One rainy evening, Trevor called her. His voice was quiet, urgent. "Meet me. Now. No excuses." Alice hesitated for a moment, the storm outside matching the storm inside her. She knew this was dangerous. But she also knew she wouldn't refuse him. She found him waiting at a secluded cafe, coat pulled tight against the rain, eyes glimmering with something both alluring and dangerous. "Trevor, what are we doing? We're burning ourselves. Burning is the point. Some fires aren't meant to be contained." She looked away, biting her lip. Her heart thudded in her chest, torn between wanting him and fearing where this path would lead. "You stay in a marriage you despise, you risk everything for me, but why not end it? Why keep the lie? Because power and love don't mix well. I cannot give you my freedom without losing who I am. And yet, I cannot give you nothing." Their eyes locked. In that moment, she saw the truth, he was as trapped as she was. Two souls caught in a toxic dance they neither wanted to end. Trevor reached for her hand. "Alice, we can't escape this. Not now. Not ever." She felt the pull, the inevitability of it all, the summons she had no choice but to answer. They left together into the storm, wet and reckless, their laughter mingling with the sound of thunder. And the world outside ceased to matter. Weeks turned into months. Their stolen encounters were no longer occasional, they became inevitability. Every meeting was a deeper plunge into a storm neither of them could control. Trevor's presence consumed Alice's thoughts. One evening, Trevor called her in a tone that made her heart race. "Meet me. Tonight. No excuses." She arrived at his apartment to find him tense, pacing. His phone buzzed, a message flashing with her name. Trevor ignored it until the sound became insistent. Finally, he read it. His face hardened. "It's Eleanor. Your wife." He nodded without looking at her. Then he sank onto the couch. "She knows." Alice froze. "Knows what?" Trevor turned to her, dark eyes full of storm. "That I love you. That I'm with her out of convenience, for the press, for appearances, for the child. She knows it. She hates it. And she hates me." Alice felt her chest tighten. The confession should have made her feel triumphant, but instead, it weighed heavy, like the truth was both a gift and a curse. "So, you're with her because it's easier. Because of power and image." "Exactly. I chose control over my heart. But with you, I have no choice. You're my weakness." Alice's voice dropped. "That makes this toxic." Trevor reached for her hand, gripping it tightly. "It makes this inevitable." There was a silence thick with unspoken truths. Somewhere beyond the walls of the apartment, the city roared, a reminder of the lives they had chosen to ignore. Alice knew, then, that she was no longer a willing visitor in Trevor's world. She was a prisoner of it. And so was he. The weeks after Eleanor's revelation were unbearable. Trevor and Alice continued to meet, but the weight of the truth began to suffocate them. Every stolen moment was laced with guilt, every glance with desperation. One rainy evening, Alice stopped answering his calls. She avoided the cafes, the hotels, the places where they had surrendered to one another. Trevor noticed. The silence grew into a chasm between them. Finally, she called him. Her voice was calm, but underneath it lay steel. "Trevor. I can't do this anymore. I can't be your secret. I can't be a part of your lies. Trevor, after a pause, Alice. No. I'm done. I need to live without this weight. There was silence. Then his voice cracked. You don't understand. I love you. Then let me go. She hung up before he could reply. Trevor sat in the dark, staring at his phone, the rain hammering against his window. For the first time in months, he felt powerless. He did not call her again. Weeks turned into months. Alice moved forward. She met James, a free-spirited artist with golden hair and easy laughter. He loved her without complication, without lies. With him, she breathed again. Trevor remained in the gilded cage of his life. His marriage continued, a performance for the public, a facade of unity. Behind closed doors, there was silence and cold. Eleanor knew, but her bitterness kept her silent. Trevor loved Alice still, but the summons that bound them had ended, leaving only regret. He would watch her from afar, his heart aching with a truth he could not speak aloud. He had lost her forever. Spring arrived quietly, but for Alice, it brought a renewal. She walked through the streets of the city with James, his laughter bright against the soft hum of the morning. There was no tension between them, no dangerous pulls, only an ease she had not known for years. At night, she wrote again, her words flowing like a river freed of ice. She poured fragments of Trevor into her novels, a secret tribute to the man who had changed her life. Trevor, meanwhile, remained trapped in his gilded prison. His public life was flawless, speeches, interviews, handshakes, but behind closed doors, silence reigned. Eleanor watched him like a judge. Their marriage continued out of duty, appearances, and a shared history of compromise. He still thought of her. Always. One evening, alone in his study, Trevor touched the worn edge of a letter Alice had once written him, a confession of desire and pain. He traced her words as if they were. I wanted her to stay. But I was too weak to let go, and too proud to lose her. The truth lingered in the quiet room. Their connection had been a summons neither could deny, a storm that burned too brightly to last. Alice had moved on. She had chosen freedom. Trevor had stayed. He had chosen chains. And somewhere between them remained the echo of what could never be, a love that was as toxic as it was inevitable. Some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. Some flames, once lit, leave ashes that never fade. Trevor and Alice answered a summons neither could resist, a call that brought joy and pain, passion and ruin. They loved fiercely, destructively, karmically. And though their paths diverged, hers toward freedom, his toward chains, the memory of that connection remained. A summons that echoed beyond time, whispering still in the silence of hearts who once dared to answer it.